I'm an educator, and that means that for most of my working career, I have been teaching. I've taught squash for many, many years, and I've taught computing, and now I teach English. Now, the purpose of my job is to help people improve in whatever I am teaching them. But the reasons for people coming to me are different. In the case of the computing, it was because I was in charge of a building and we were upgrading the system, and people didn't know how to use the new system, so I had to teach them how to use that. In the case of English, for the adults, it's because they need it for their job, and in the case of the children, it's because their parents force them to, which of course is natural, but they will probably need it in their life in the future. Now, in the case of squash, besides the juniors, because often juniors can be, not often they can be, okay. Juniors are sometimes forced to go coaching. Many times in the past, my junior clubs were more of a creche because the parents wanted to go and do something else and leave the children doing some activity. But a lot of the children loved playing squash and wanted to be there. So the reasons children go to coaching are completely different from adults. So this week's question, have you ever had coaching? It's a simple question, and it's what we would call a closed question because it can be answered with yes or no. But it's much more than that, because I want to discuss what happened around that. If you did have coaching, what made you decide? Was there a particular point? Did you lose a match and then say, okay, that's it, I really need to get better, and the best way for me to do that is coaching? Or did you perhaps see somebody improving faster than you and you thought, why is that happening? And maybe you talked to them and they said, yeah, I'm having coaching. Oh, okay, well maybe it's time now for me to have coaching, you thought. If it is no, if you've never had coaching, was it a conscious decision? Did you say, no, I'm not going to do that, I want to improve on my own? Was it something out of your control? There are no coaches in your area. They're too expensive. You don't feel that you particularly want to benefit from that. Or maybe that's one that's in your control. Now, if you did have coaching, we've got lots of little branching questions here. But if you did have coaching, are you still having it? Why did you stop? Okay, so lots of little sort of, as I just said, branches here. What made you stop? If you're still having coaching, what is the process that is happening? Do you feel it's worth it? Sometimes you commit to a number of lessons and you have to wait until the end. Do you feel that it's the process that you expected it to be? Is it faster? Is it slower? Now, I can tell you lots of little stories about how fast people can improve and how slow that they can improve, or how not at all. So sometimes my experience is very wide because I've taught lots of different people, and each individual person has got a different story. And that's what I want to hear. I want to hear your stories about coaching. And when I say stories, I don't mean fiction, something invented. I just want to hear about your experience. I want to learn as a coach how I can help that process improve, how I can convince more people to have coaching, because I truly believe that having coaching is probably the best way to improve. But not everybody can have it. So that's this week's question. So it's like one question which then branches into lots of other ones. And I'd love to hear your stories about the process that you went through, the decisions you made, the successes, the failures, all of your sort of experiences. So that's really what I'm looking to do. So after I just stopped that recording, I said to myself, maybe I should have given you some of the stories that I talked about. Maybe that will, encourage you to share your own, and maybe you can learn something from it. So obviously there's no names, and even if I could remember the names, those people, probably disappeared from playing squash anyway. So there was this one gentleman who came to me, and he said to me, Philip, I want to have 10 lessons. I was like, that's no problem. Yeah. Okay. So we organised the 10 lessons. We had this once a week. So he came and he could hit the ball. He wasn't particularly good at running and hitting, but he could hit the ball. So we worked on a number of things. I gave him his homework. I said, okay, play as much as you can. Keep working on those things. Okay. So the next week comes. Did you manage to play this week? No, I just never had any chance to play. Okay, all right, fine. Life is complicated. I understand that. So we worked on some more things, tried to introduce some new aspects, keep things interesting, pretty much doing the same things that we did last week, because if you haven't played, then we have to do it again. So there goes the lesson. I said, okay, now make sure you play this week, or at least practice. Practice. Okay, fine. Next week comes, so this is the third week. All right, how much have you done? Nothing. I've been really busy this week. All right, okay. I'm not going to shout at you. It's not my job to shout at you, but I am going to tell you, you really must practice. You can't come to me and learn some new things, but then not put them into practice, because each time we go backwards. And you probably guess what's going to happen. You spend the whole 10 weeks not practicing, only coming to me. But each week I said to him, look, shall we just do something slightly different this week? Because if you're not playing, we can do... No, I want to learn new things. All right. So then at the end of the 10 weeks, he said, Philip, I'm not going to carry on because I don't feel as though I'm improving enough. And I was a little angry, I have to admit, a little upset. And it was like, I know, but you're not practicing. Yeah, no, that's not my job. My job is to come to you and you're supposed to teach me. I am teaching you, but if you don't put it into practice, no, I'm sorry, I'm not coming back. I said, all right. We parted friends. There was no problem. He was a member at the club, but we never saw him. So first lesson there is having coaching is only one part of the story. If you don't put it into practice, then that's really, that's really it's not gonna really make much difference. And then I had another person who came to me who didn't play. He told me at the beginning, I'm not playing. I don't play. I just come to coaching. Okay, all right. So that lesson is completely different from a lesson for a person who says that they're going to practice and they want to improve, they want to go up in the ladders. So this person just came to me. He could hit a ball really well. He could move pretty well, but he never played. And I asked him, why? Why do you come to coaching? He says, well, I got nobody who can play with me at the same time, and I just want to do some exercise, so this seems to be the best way. I was like, okay, I'm pretty cool about that. That seems like a really good way of doing things. And then the last story is about another gentleman, mostly men, who came to me and said, okay, I really want to work on my game. Now, he didn't play at the club that I was coaching at, but that was okay. We had an arrangement that, non-members could come in and have lessons. So he came to me, told me what he was trying to do. Off we go. We have a few lessons. And each week I would notice that he's doing something different that we hadn't talked about. And I asked him and he said, I've just been trying a few new things. And eventually I found out that he was working with another coach. And there's nothing wrong with working with two coaches, but you need to tell your coach that you're working with two different coaches. And what really happened was that I was asking him to do one thing, the other coach was asking him to do the other. He was kind of like in the middle, and his philosophy was, well, if it's great to have coaching with one person, it's going to be double to have coaching with two people. And it doesn't work that way. You could be working in different directions. I might have been trying to get him to do one thing and the coach was trying to get him to do the opposite, and then it was just confusing. So that was quite an interesting discussion about why things weren't working. And then he let it slip by accident. He said, oh yeah, Joe told me to. Who's Joe? Oh yeah, sorry. That's the other coach. Other coach? And it's no problem. I knew the other coach and we had a chat and then we both, we worked, together. So that particular lesson there was, if you're having coaching with two people, tell the coaches. Make sure you do. Anyway, those are my stories. Just a few of my stories anyway. So you tell me your stories. On the screen at the moment is a subscription button. If and only if you think my content is useful, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you're told when I release new videos. On the screen also is a playlist of the other weekly questions. Lots of things to get you thinking there. And also a video that YouTube thinks is a good fit for you based on what you've been watching. And remember, do something every single day to improve your squash. See ya.